Greetings, Mythics. How are we? Yes, we are back. I don't think I pushed the button. Have I actually pushed the button for live streaming? Are we live streaming? I don't think we are. So I think, are we? They've changed it now, Twitch. Is it? It doesn't say duration. It is saying live, but the clock's not counting along. Anyway, that was a slick opening, wasn't it? Greetings, Mythics. How are we? Well, my name is Ken Boyter, and I used to be pretty good at doing this. This is the Edra Scrolls Twitch channel, but I do have an Edra Scrolls YouTube channel as well. This is Grockle Key is from the Bottled Imp. If you want to go check out the Bottled Imp YouTube channel, feel free. You can subscribe to it as well. And we have over 450 episodes of fantasy goodness, fantasy board game reviews, fantasy book reviews, and fantasy film reviews. I always forget what the other one is. Yes, good morning, Martha. Good morning, Jonathan. Smooth, yeah. Well, there used to be a countdown. It used to go 3, 2, you push the button and then it would go 3, 2, 1 and you're in. Good evening, Lee Rin. But now it doesn't do that. You push the button and it doesn't really change colour, it doesn't do anything, it doesn't indicate that you've gone live. Apart from top left, it says off live and then live, and it's very subtle. And I just didn't feel like it had done it then. And also there's a duration timer just about there on the screen. And that wasn't going at all. So anyway, hey, that's me then, the smooth operator. Martha is feeling under the weather today. I'm exhausted and not in a good mood. Oh, big hugs to Martha. Hopefully this little 45 minutes to an hour will cheer you up, Martha. Jonathan put... It feels like almost every time I log into Twitch, it tells me to update the app. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Twitch. I mean, the thing is, well, I've never worked with software. I don't. I've worked with web designers, coders back in the day, and it just seemed really difficult to do coding. And so I would imagine if you're developing an app, do you want to develop an app? It's very complex because you've got lots of different moving parts. So I think it's very easy for us just to go, oh, bloody Twitch or bloody Facebook, it's not working, when it's probably quite complex. But yeah, I played Talisman last night on digital, and I hadn't opened my Steam account on the PC for ages, and there's like a gig's worth of update. It's like, okay. Yes, Martha, I'm also feeling a little bit under the weather. As you can probably tell, I've got a bit of a cold, so I will try not to sniffle. And thank you, have a new follower. Thank you, Duneg, if that's how you pronounce it. Duneg, 1980. Appreciate you following the channel. Thank you very much. Jonathan has put here, talking of operators, I've just discovered Electric Callboy and their banging track elevator operator. Oh, okay. I wonder where you're going with you've just discovered an Electric Callboy. Hello, is that the Electric Callboy company? Yeah, can you send me around a short one? That's where I thought you were going with that, Jonathan. Right, I've just discovered Electric Callboy and their banging track elevator operator. What the blimedy is that all about? Is that electronic music? Is it rave music? What sort of music is that then? Is that dance music? It's all very nuanced. I haven't listened to recent music in years. Absolutely years. I think also what happened was I realised that I listened to music as a thing in itself. So I'd put a record on, that's how old I am, or a tape, or a CD, because I had a stack system. Again, that's how old I am. And I'd have a stack system, and then I'd have all my CDs, or back in the day, you'd have your vinyl. And so to me, it was a bit of a thing. You go, right, what do I want to listen to now? And you'd go through your collection, and you go, oh yeah, I haven't heard that one in a long time. You'd put it on, and I would definitely listen to music, because it was easy to do so. Then I made the decision to get rid of my CDs, which I am still slightly regretting. I didn't have loads, probably about 100 CDs, 200 CDs maybe. But I got rid of them all. And then, I burnt them digitally, so I've got them on digital file. And then I thought, yeah, I can just play them off my PC, but I don't really do that. I just don't. I don't play music from my PC. So consequently, the only time I actually listen to music is now on my CDs in the car. So it's crazy, isn't it? I've never got into streaming. Never got into streaming music. Jonathan has put here, they're a German electronic core band. Okay, nice. A little bit like Kraftwerk. That's the go-to, isn't it? Leerin's put, stay warm, dear Martha. Good evening, John and Ken. Yes, good evening, Leirin. How are you, sir? Jonathan has put, my daughter got a record player for Christmas. Oh, that is music to my ears. And is loving discovering all sorts of classic vinyl albums. Yeah, it was a thing. If you got a physical item, and I would say this is the same with books. You have a physical item, Lovejoy, halfway through book 3, and Lovejoy in the books is a lot more violent than Lovejoy on TV. I'll just let you know that. He went into a pub and then just beat up about 3 different antiques dealers. But he is actually going to be going to court soon. It's a little bit tasty in the books. But yes, the actual physical joy of having something makes it more of an event. It makes it more real. I know that sounds rubbish, but we are actually living in the 3D world. We actually respond to tactile things. You know, when you see, this isn't necessarily a good example, but when you see sort of texture on a sculpture, you kind of want to go up and touch that texture, don't you? It's my little goblin. Leaving put in, my dad and I saw the Sunday market, a gentleman who was selling a literal Dracula-era wax cylinder record player. Lovely. And surprisingly, the Beethoven Symphony it played almost sound as good as CDs. There you go. She's bought some, says Jonathan, she's bought some Beach Boys. Nice. And Fleetwood Mac. I do like a bit of Mac. Beach Boys, I know they're very popular and I know they're good, but it's just not quite my music. But Fleetwood Mac, I really love Fleetwood Mac. And newer acts like Noah Khan. There you go. I do think there's a resurgence in I think I read somewhere, in, you know, vinyl records. There's just something about it. It's just an event. You know, it's like, oh, it's like reading a book. You look at the bookshelf and go, oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Just something about it. Which I think is why, you know, I do play video games, but I do prefer board games. There's just something about it. And also, I know you can play with your mates online, and that's great, but there's nothing, it's not quite the same. It's not quite the same. Martha's put here, I'm under a blanket, but I'm sniffling. Oh, well, good. At least you're keeping warm, Martha. Yeah, I'm like you. I've woken up with a cold. And I had, since Monday, I almost had a migraine. You know when you get all your, I don't know if anyone suffers from migraines, but I had all that vision thing going on. So I take a couple of ibuprofen. And that normally sorts it out, which it did. But I've had the traces of a headache all week and not felt brilliant. So today, I mean, I do have a murder mystery today, but luckily I'm not in that many scenes. So I haven't had a lot to learn this week. Leerin's put a toast to the unconventionally thinning gentleman who pioneered the idea to record sound on literal wax 2 centuries ago. Yes, absolutely. Let's celebrate him. Yeah. Same here, says Martha. We might have the same thing. Yeah, we could do. We could do. There's a lot of, you know, it's winter, isn't it? A lot of stuff going around. Unconventional thinking, yeah. Well, that's what you need. That's how innovation comes about, doesn't it? People just go, actually, do you know what? What if we do that and do that and do that? Ah, now there's an idea. It's probably not as easy as that, is it? But yes, talking about digital versus physical, I did play a digital game of Talisman. Here's my physical rule book of Talisman. Now, if nobody has played Talisman before, it is a game that came out in the 80s. It was designed by Bob Harris. not that Bob Harris. Is that whispering Bob Harris? You know, nice, really nice. Is that? And it was released by Games Workshop. And now this game was basically like Monopoly, but it's set in a fantasy world. You roll a dice. Each player plays a different, character. You might be a thief. You might be a mage. You might be a wizard. You might be an assassin. You've each got slightly different abilities, and you are all trying to get to the centre space on the board to get the Crown of Command, where you can then just start killing people off. Now, it's been going for, when was it, 40 years now, something like that. And, we absolutely loved it. We loved it. We played the first edition. It was fantastic. And because it was fantasy theme, it really, that was our bag. And alongside the fighting fantasy books, it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is really cool. So, then there was years where I didn't play it. I guess from sort of maybe 18 to sort of 30, I didn't play it. And then I discovered it all again. And then, so me and my mates, when we used to play it, my mate still had the first edition, I've still got the second edition, and we played the first edition, and it was fantastic. And we had beers, we're adults, obviously. It took all day, and that's the thing with this Talisman game. It takes a long time to play. It's crazy. So nowadays, if you were designing a modern board game, you wouldn't design it like Talisman. It's just so many of the old tropes, and there's a lot of luck involved. It's a lot of luck. A lot of dice rolling. So, but that's part of the fun. It's very brutal. And last night I was invited along to play a digital game with two YouTubers. One is called Glenn, what's his name? Glenn 1N, so 1 but spelt out, Glenn 1N. And the other one is Lord Zods. It just goes by the name of Zod, really, but Lord Zods, Z-O-D-Z. And they've created a new YouTube channel called the Talisman Tavern, and this is going to be the first episode. So we just played a game, basically, and it took us about 2.5 hours, 3 hours to play. And this is the digital game. There's another guy called Elliot who loves Talisman as well, and so it's a lot of fun, though. It's a lot of fun. So that was really nice to do, because sometimes, because I've got a load of projects on. Jonathan's probably the same. Martha, you're the same, aren't you, with all your projects? Actually just doing something just for fun, I don't always do, if that makes sense. So it was nice just to do that. And it was kind of slightly related to, what I do. And we, as the Bottled Imp, we actually did reviews of the base game and all of the many expansions. We did episodes on house ruling the game, which expansion should I buy next. We also started to do character looks. I think we did most of the base game. We looked specifically at the characters and what they did and how to get the best out of them. And so we got a lot of views from these Talisman videos, which I was very surprised at. But yeah, I think the base game Talisman review it's 10 years old now, but it was the second episode we did. By far the biggest viewed one. I think it's got about 140,000 views, which for a channel, we were still small, it was about 9,000 subscribers. That's just, that's crazy numbers. So, and then all the others are they're all over 10k, I think. So, we're very happy with those. And then, though, what happens is should we do more Talisman videos on the Bottled Imp? I haven't got time. Which is why I haven't really plugged the Edra Tales YouTube channel or done different shows for that, because I'm losing focus of what I actually want to do with my creative time and my free time. Lerin has put here, though lucky accidents are important as having courage to try new things, the arguably luckiest accident was science. In science was a clumsy Belgian scientist apprentice in the Congo who, by chance, spilled a vial of sulphur onto a cauldron into a boiling vat of rubber, which formed the very first piece of flexible compound we know it today. Without that dear young buffoon's clumsiness would not have known ties for cards. Yeah, I think I knew that it was an accident. Much less have them allowed plans to land. Yeah, but then that's cool, isn't it? That's how, again, people can come across things accidentally, but they can also invent stuff by design. And either way, it's a win-win, isn't it? Lirin's put here, the Belgians were literally going to give up on this strange new tree sap before the accident, not knowing what to do with their discovery. Yeah, that's the other thing. If it is an accident, you don't quite know how valuable it is. There was that story of Kodak, wasn't there? The film company, who produced cameras and film for cameras, that were huge. They were like massive company. They employed thousands of people around the world. And their business model was built on not just selling the cameras and the film, but obviously selling all the chemicals to develop the film. But one of their employees, who'd been with them for years, I think he was, part of the research and development team, he actually invented the first digital camera. A very, very basic, obviously, digital camera. And he took it to his bosses, the company owners, and they just went, no. Because they didn't want it to disrupt their own business model, which was selling the film, selling the chemicals to the film and the sheets of paper. Because they thought, oh, well, if, we're going to lose all that money selling the film. However, so I think what he did is he left and went somewhere else. And then they became the dominant, camera company. So you've got to... If you do stumble across a discovery, you've got to think, actually, we ought to put this in motion. And it's the same with the oil companies. For petrol cars, eventually, I guess, all petrol will be stopped using. But if only they'd used something previously. If they had just, started developing it a lot earlier, but they didn't want to because they still want to make money out of the old petrol. Anyway, so Talisman was a very enjoyable game, but I mean it was great, but it's not the same as the physical aspects. It's not the same as physically playing it and looking through the rule book. It's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of beauty is what I'm trying to say. So talking of a thing of beauty, you guys probably know, yes, Guildlands. Guildlands is the new game that's coming out, co-designed by myself and Kedrick Winks, and it is choose your guild, lay your tiles, rebuild the city. It is a tile laying game where you have to score off your own guild symbol, and each guild scores differently, so it's asymmetrical, and it's a lot of fun because part of the skill and part of your choices is, do you concentrate, when do you concentrate building up your own score through your symbols, and when do you start sabotaging other people? Sometimes you sabotage people without necessarily meaning to, but it's more of your advantage to do so, because it's like, well, I know I'm sabotaging you, but I'm actually doing this because it's scoring me points. But you can do it where you can sabotage somebody and you're not scoring your own points, but you are deducting points off of their scores. So in actual fact, you are leveling the scoring, so it's kind of in a way like concentrating on your score. So it's got that nice balance. Now, when I play games, I've played board games for years now, and one factor I have noticed about any game that I like playing, I like player interaction. I like that because that kind of is sort of why you're at the table, isn't it? To enjoy something in a group. So I've noticed games that don't have a lot of player interaction, they can feel a little bit dry to me. And certainly if there's no player interaction, there's some, Wingspan I played, which is a huge board game. And, and it's really cool. It's, you're sort of bird watchers, I think, or bird collectors. And, it's got all little facts about birds, and it's really cool, and it's very clever worker placement. But I just felt a little bit dry with it. It was just like, I'm doing my thing, not really messing with other people. There's no sort of conversation about the game. Whereas, here's a classic example with Talisman. you can mess with other people so much. You can cast spells on them. You can turn them into toads. You can steal objects off them. You can land on them and, as I say, steal an object. Or, well, if you're the thief, you can steal an object, obviously. But you can combat. You can fight them, and if you win, you can take one of their lives, or you can steal an object. You can. What else can you do? You can teleport them places. Various things you can do to sabotage other people. So it's a brutal game, but it's fun. It's really good fun because you're like, 1 minute you're all cocky going, yeah, look at me, I've got this sword and I've got the talisman and I've got this and I've got that. And look at what I just did there. That was really cool. And you're all a bit cocky. And then the next go, someone just casts a spell on you and you have to roll to see what the outcome is, and you roll a 1, you're a slimy little toad for 3 turns. So it's kind of like life, but set in a fantasy world. So it is a lot of fun. So I like those types of games, and it is a lot of random talisman. But I'm not. I mean, I do prefer less randomness. I think in modern board games, but because it's an old board game, you cut it some slack. Could be to play D&D with you, Ken. Yes, exactly. D&D, again, is more of an immersive storytelling game, isn't it? And you do you're meant to be working together as a party, but there are elements that you can sort of mess with other people as well. But certainly when you're working together, you are, you're discussing what you should do, and you should say, which spell should I cast? Should I cast this? I don't know. So there is player interaction. There's another game called Everdale that's did massively well, which is, it's beautifully designed. The artwork is just gorgeous. But again, for me and Sally, it just felt a little bit dry. There was no player interaction, which was such a shame. So but it's done massively, massively well. So my worker placement game, which is a Christmas Carol. I'm going to do a Christmas Carol worker placement game. I don't know if I've told you that or not. That's one of my ideas. I'm going to have player interaction. Yes, you're going to be working, placing your money lenders on the board. You're going to be trying to get money. You're going to be lending money. You're going to be doing various different things. However, you are also going to have interaction with the other players, because then that's fun. Lyrian's put a curse by the hag. There we go. Lyrian's played talisman. And poltergeist was such a pain, especially if the other players left you surrounded by undefeated strength dragons, and craft 10's demon ones. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the fun thing about it. If you had the hag, the poltergeist, you can only move 1 space on your go until you cross water. So you might be loads of spaces away from water, and then you have to encounter those big dragons, the powerful dragons, or the demon, the powerful demons. That's just fun because that's what's going to happen. The hag means that you can't have any other followers, so you might have followers that help you. The hag, because no one likes the hag, you have to leave. All the followers leave you. So there we are. So the good news is with Guildlands is that it is pretty much all signed off now, and boy was that an intense couple of weeks. So we're very lucky, Kedrick and I. We're published by Outset Media and Cheatwell Media, or Cheatwell Games, and Cheatwell is the UK and European sort of branch, and Outset is the Canadian and American branch, if you like. But they were 2 separate companies. They've merged. And so I'm very lucky, actually, because the guy that commissioned us to do the game, he lives up the road. So obviously it's cool because, we can go around and discuss the game. If we need to play test it, it's very easy for us to do it. And it takes such a long time, potentially, to get a game out there on the market, especially when it's from conception to end result launch day. Because not only do you have to come up with the idea for the game, you have to come up with, the rules, you have to come up with a prototype. You have to then play test it, and then you change the rules, and then you play test it more, and then you change the rules, you play test it more, you change the rules, blah, 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 and then eventually you get to the stage where you think, yeah, that's it, that's the game, we're ready to pitch it. Then you have to do like a 3-minute video or a minute video, you know, explaining what the game's about. You have to do the rules that are very simple to read. You have to do a pitch sheet or a sell sheet, you know, just as an overview of the game. And also, it's a good idea to put it up on Tabletop Simulator, because then if you have pitched it to overseas companies, then at least they can play the game with you and see if they want to take it on. And that's not even anybody saying yes. If they do say yes, then it has to slot into their publishing schedule, so that might be 6 months or whatever wait. But then also an artist has to be employed. They have to work out what materials they're going to use on the board. You know, what you know, the production values of what they're doing. Are they going to use acrylic standees, wooden stand, you know, meeples? Are they using sculpts if you've got figures in it? All of those decisions. And then they need a graphic designer. They need a rules writer potentially. Although Kedrick and I have been doing this on this. So because this is kind of the most complex game that this company has done, Kedrick and I have been very, very much involved in the production side. So it's been quite intense. What here? Leerin's put here. Oh, hang on. Martha has put here, sorry. I have an idea of a rogue and a paladin who is the rogue's parole officer. Oh, that's quite fun. The rogue has to do good and get out of prison. Yeah, and away from the paladin lawful ideas. Yeah, that's quite good conflict. That's good storytelling there, Martha, isn't it? Yeah, because obviously a thief or a rogue's natural inclination is to be a bit dodgy, you know, and try and nick stuff and do sort of nefarious things. And the paladin's obviously whiter than white and doesn't, you know. I like that idea. Leerin's a bit weight, running water as weakness, poltergeist, just like vampires in their Irish fairy weakness. Yes, in the game of Talisman, you have to cross water, and there is 2 rivers on the outer region, and then there's from the outer region to the to the middle region. Sorry, there's one big river runs around it, but it's harder to cross that river than the other little rivers. So most people just go round the outer region to get to one of those regions. Lerin has put here, on top of reading Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn back in the day, which I've not read, but I did watch some of the TV shows, I'm going to brush up on my Spanish to give my aunt, who's going on a tour in Barcelona next month. Lovely. I've been to Barcelona. It is gorgeous. Thank goodness the course I'm going to do revision on is only 4 hours long. That's good. And if you put it on double speed, it's only 2 hours long. If you learn something double speed, you actually then recite it back double speed. You'll be able to speak Spanish double speed. To give my aunt a list of helpful phrases. That is fantastic. Where is the nearest D&D shop? Where is the nearest Talisman game going on? And where can I buy a beer? That's probably all the phrases you need. So it's been an interesting journey, and I'm tidying up at the moment, so I've got lots of my things in boxes at the moment, and I came across the original symbols, like prototype for Guildlands, which it starts off so simple. This is like a little player guide. That we did, and I did all the little illustrations, the little symbols. There's the Wizard's Tower. And the road. The road was the easiest, obviously. There's the gardeners. Yeah. I remember those when you were still live on Facebook. Oh, right. Fantastic. That's really cool. You remember them. Oh, yeah. Look. And the City Watch. A little turret. A little guard tower. Thief and Paladin, like Eddie Murphy, who's partnered with Nick Nolte's 40-Hour Cop. Yes. A medieval 80s crime buddy comedy. Well, there you go, Martha. Yeah, and so here's the tiles that I made. This is the very first prototype. And as you can see, there's different symbols from the different guilds. That's the Druid one on different symbols. And And with a prototype, it just has to be very, very basic. Very basic indeed. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It's just so you can play test it. Just so you can play test it. You know, and we were using, you know, just wooden chits, I think these are called. You know, just as little tokens. So yeah. Isn't that bonkers? And then if I show you by comparison, what have we got here? Yeah, so this is the tiles now. Yeah, I did mean to print some more stuff out, but so this is the tiles now. This is the final artwork for the tiles. So if you look at the blue, there you go. Look at the blue tower. It's completely different. And what we found when we did this version was that I had done them as though you're standing in front of them and looking at them. But then we said, no, that doesn't quite work. We need to have them top down. So then I did a version where I drew them all top down, so you're looking down at them. And that worked so much better. And then what happened was, yeah, then we did... Oh, did I bring them over? Oh, yeah, then we did... And then you can see we commissioned Blue, who did the final artwork. We commissioned him to do some rough prototype ones. So they're not quite the same. They're not as detailed as the final ones. Can you see that? But then we also had Mark, who's the graphic designer, and he put in little extra things. He put little washes on them and just added a little bit more detail so that when you're laying the tiles down, they're like a city and it kind of looks like a bustling city. Might make some food. I'm so hungry. Oh, yes. What are you going to have then? Some meaty tubes and Skeldrake snacks. So, yeah, so this was the rule sheet that I did. This was what we used when we pitched. So, again, because I'm a graphic designer, I kind of can do, you know, the rules and stuff like that a little bit more fancier. What else have we got here? Oh, yeah. So then, yeah, I think I've shown you these. So now, so initially, this is the thing. Initially, these were the guides, and they were just one-sided. Just one-sided. And as the game became more complex, we needed, you know, more complex guides. So, hang on, let me show you this. Let me show you this. Oh, yeah, so then we developed these that had the symbol of what you're looking for on the tile, the tokens that this guild comes with, and the geeples, and then how it scores and all the information you need, what you do on your turn. And then on the back, we've got a scoring diagram. Now, these are my prototype ones that we did. And they're good enough for pitching, but I always knew, you know, they would be, you know, a new graphic designer would do them, and so Mark has redone them using the new artwork and all of that, and they just look really good. Now I haven't got a final one. I was going to print it out, but we only signed them off Friday night. But we have got the little. I've got the little characters for you to see. Look at that. We've got the City Watch character. We got the wizard. We got the druid. We have the gardener, the merchant, and the road toll collector. So there we go. So these are going to be little wooden figures with transfers on the side to look like that. So we're very, very happy with these. And these are the tokens that some of the guilds have. That's the Druid Shrine. The Gardener's has 2 fountains. The Road Toll Collector's has a bridge. You can't quite see that, but they have a city wall. There's a wall cut out into that pattern. That's the Wizard's Tower token. That's a pop-up market. And there you go. So it's all coming together, but this took ages. Ages and ages and ages. But you know what? In a way it has to, because we are very lucky, because Kedrick and I want quality. And so does Cheatwell, and so does Outset Media. So we're all aiming for the same standard, which is really, really cool. Thinking of making some noodles. That does sound lovely. Tight and winding yet elegant streets. I'll wager it's an Elizabethan Renaissance era metropolitan the game is set in. Well, kind of. It's kind of loose fantasy. It's loose fantasy. So yeah, they are elegant. But the thing is, the way we had to make sure out of that function sort of comes over style, because when you're scoring off of your symbol, you need to be able to see your symbol very, very clearly from the other tiles. So, for example, if I'm playing the Wizard's Tower, if I'm playing the Wizard's Guild, I'm looking out for my purple towers. Yeah? So they need to be very distinctive. Now, purple and blue, for me, that's a very distinctive colour. And these are different shapes. They've got little triangles, you know, it's a sort of cross. And again, the Druids got the standing stones. So they do have to be very different. The other thing that we've got is we've got different coloured road patterns. I don't know if you can see them that well on this camera. But we've got 4 different road colour patterns. Now, if you match up 3 tiles of the same road pattern, you gain a gold. Yay! This is what you want. And then you can spend that gold to get an extra, to do an extra action. So it's like a little power-up move you can do. Might take a nap before that. Ooh, napping and eating. The 2 most greatest things in the world. There is a third, but we keep it clean. Come on. So yeah, so we're really happy with that. Oh look, there's the wall tower. So we will be demoing it. I'm pretty confident that the game will be available at UK Games Expo. So if you are going to go to the UK Games Expo, we will be demoing the game. Both Kedrick and I will be there. So we're really excited about that. And really what I need to do now is I need to kind of put this up on social media. I need to post up about it just to get the buzz going. Maybe try and get it up on the UK Games website, you know, Facebook page. I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't think maybe you can just post up. I don't know, because everybody will be doing it. But yeah, certainly we, you know, what the company really we need to get for the company. I mean, I don't work for the company, but they're great at coming up with the games and the production values. But because they traditionally have sold jigsaws and quiz books and more mainstream games, that's a different business model for these designer games, basically. So with the designer games, it's more selling directly to the fans, you know, to the players, to the gamers. What the mainstream games do is they will ring up shops and say, hello, we got this game, you know, it's like Old Maid, or it's like, you know, Snap, or it's like... And so shops just will take, you know, 5 or 6 without even really knowing what the game's about, and without even really playing the game or being invested in the game sort of emotionally. And I can kind of understand that, obviously. But these games aren't quite like that. You know, they're difficult. So we have to go to the retailers that are selling these types of games. So they haven't really got the marketing department to do this. And this is what we found with the Crooked Crown, our other game, is that, you know, we sent out review copies, but we've only had 2 reviews and an unboxing, you know. So it's like, how are people finding out about the game? Kind of word of mouth. But really, well, and at expos, you know, you need people to play it, because once they play the Crooked Crown, people generally buy it. But of course, you can't play it online. And again, digital versus physical. Which is why I did a how to play video. And I'll be doing a how to play video of Guildlands as well. So there we are. There we are. But so my time has been placed elsewhere. It wasn't just purely writing my game book. So because I had to look at the proofs, I had to read the rules. Kedrick and I went through the rules, and Paul, who's the commissioning editor, we had to really look at everything and make sure everything was right. So that takes time. Might take a nap before that. Yeah, PM paper D&D is more fun. Yeah, paper D&D. Yeah, round the table. You're it's instant. I mean, I did do D&D online for a while, but I didn't enjoy it as much. So yes, that's I've been spending time on that. How's everybody else's projects going? Sorry, I normally ask you that at the beginning. We got sidetracked with Talisman. Especially exactly 30 days from now, there's going to be another tabletop gaming convention. This time at the Forest Park train station. That sounds fantastic. I like the idea of that, the Forest Park train station. Presumably that's very good access to get to then, if it's right near a train station. And that's tabletop gaming? Fantastic. So I take it these games are pretty big in Taiwan, Lee Rin and Martha. Are they big in Norway? Tabletop gaming. Not so well. Haven't been able to write at all, and it's getting you down. Yeah, I know how you feel. I've had that where I just can't get to the table to write. Morning, Sally. How was your run? I've had to just step back. If you've been ill, Martha, you have to just step back and say, look, I've been ill. I can't write. I've been ill. There's no point really in trying to beat yourself up or being frustrated. I know it's easier said than done, but you just have to go, okay, next week is next week, and I'm gonna start writing again. Because if you're ill, you're ill. Your mind can't concentrate on it. Or if you've had having to do something else that takes priority, then unfortunately that's just how it goes, doesn't it? Wow, you ran 25 minutes. That's fantastic, Sally. You earned yourself a sturdy pint and a cake. Well done. That's very impressive. 25 minutes. Lee Rinspear, well, tabletop gaming right now feels like the baby steps. Oh, okay. I've opted in the 70s when Mr. Guy first started the hobby. Oh, okay. It might take off a bit better then. It might solidify. Because there are more and more games out there, aren't there? And there's more and more D&D type games as well. Kind of feel bad when I see others publishing multiple books in a year, and I spent a year making the outline for 19 chapters. Yes, I know what you mean, Martha, with that as well. I just try and ignore that. I think I might have told you this before, but when I used to go to a writers group, there was a guy that started writing a crime book. And it was a procedural crime book, and I was like, oh, okay, And he decided just to publish it on Amazon. And I thought, I was a bit snobby then. Oh, digital. And he's had the laugh last because he just wrote it, put it out there. I don't know how many books he sold. And then he just started writing his next one. Then he wrote it, he put it back out on there on digital. And then I don't know how many books he sold. And then he did another one. And then after about his third or fourth, a digital publishing company came to him and said, we notice you're quite consistent with your books and all of that. We'd like to sort of take you on as a digital publisher. So I went, oh, okay, cool. And then so from that, they then went, yeah, and we've got a view to then be a print publisher as well in time. And so that's what's happened. He kept writing a book a year, putting it out on Amazon, and then that happened. So now he's 10 years, 11 years down the line, and he's written 11 books. Whereas I was just like not really focusing on it and didn't really write them, and just, and I look back and go, oh God, if only I'd done what he'd done. But the thing about that, Martha, is I have to move on from that. I have to let it go, as somebody once famously sang. So you can only focus on what you're doing. Lehman's Bear, we have barely started, but we have a small but dedicated D&D Cthulhu community in Taiwan for the last 10 years. Oh, fantastic. That sounds great. Martha's Bit, we don't have much tabletop gaming conventions here as far as I know. Yeah, okay, that's a shame. That's a shame. And his name was Mark Dawson. No, yeah, his name was Stephen King. No, no, it wasn't quite Mark Dawson. But no, I've never asked him, how many books do you sell? Because I don't really want to. I don't know if that's the sort of polite thing that you ask an author. So that, and again, inspiration from Jonathan. Jonathan just merrily gets on with it. He just does it. And then, he puts another book out. And this is kind of what my focus is on. So that's why I published off Magic and Monkeys. That's why, I'm writing my Grimace novel. It's the Legends of Grimace Ironblood, which is a novel. And that's why I wrote a game book, because I thought, well, hopefully I could write a game book a year, and then at least I'm writing a game book a year. Who has since been accused of plagiarism? Oh, really? Ooh, I didn't know that. Yes, and it is Jonathan's full-time job now. So Jonathan has that advantage, and Jonathan's worked really hard to get there, to make it your full-time job, because to be a full-time writer is not easy to earn enough to, for that to happen. So, you deserve everything about that. So Jonathan, yeah, Jonathan, making it fun looking at it. Yeah, Sally, yeah. But, well, Jonathan was writing books when it wasn't his full-time job as well. So, I think you have to be disciplined, don't you? You have to be disciplined. So there's been times this week where I've gone, I don't really feel like writing, but I'm going to just sit down, and if I can write one entry, then that's one entry less that I have to do tomorrow. That's my thinking. But talking of how many entries I've written, I now have written where are we now? Yes, 336 entries have been written. Hurrah! So we're kind of well over halfway now. I think that's 36 entries since last week. I had hoped to write more. I had hoped to get to 50. But, life gets in the way, and I have been feeling a bit ill as well. Pollen season is, pollen season, lots of sneezing. Yeah. Sally's put, I'm joking, yeah, exactly. Are you though, Sally? But I never say it's an author, years of hard toil in most cases. Let's knock about the celebrity ones. Yeah, the celebrity ones. But then, I guess with the celebrity ones, they've put the hard work in doing something else, hopefully. Unless they've just turned up on Big Brother. So, yeah, I can't get involved with that. I can't sort of waste time being jealous or anything like that. I just have to focus on what I can control. And what I can control is, my writing and when I write and, how much I can write. And even then, some of that is out of my control. But yes, I have... we are now 437. We've got 1, 2, 3... oh, no. 4, I should never have counted. 4, 5. I've got 5.5 pages of the flow chart of the plotting to go. Or to put it easier, I want about 400 entries, so we've got about 170 to go, 160 to go, which is not bad. It's not bad actually. Putting it that way actually sounds better. And I have written over 66,000 words. 66,000 words. So, Jonathan, I think you are right when I'm going to hit... It's definitely over 100,000 words, I think. And it was really interesting, wasn't it? I found it really fun playing. We live streamed the Dungeon on Blood Island, Part 1, on Wednesday. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And it's good to... I don't feel so bad now if my entries aren't that big. That sounded all wrong, didn't it? Because if you look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Entry 16 is 6 lines long. 2 of them are your choices. If you possess anything made of bronze. If you do not have any bronze items. Do you see what I mean? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 lines of an entry. Look at that, entry 19. Is 1, 2, 2 lines of 3. It's even shorter. So I'm going to be feeling okay, and not try to overwrite the entries as well. Oh, that's fine. Like Jeff Goldman in The Fly, still have a bad habit of adding coffee to my sugar. Yeah, Sally likes her coffee strong and black. Don't finish that sentence. Do not finish that sentence. Yeah, but I'm really... There's just something really cool about a fighting fantasy book. I think it's the nostalgia. It's because it's where it all started. And the quality is really there. The quality is really there. I mean, look at those little filler illustrations. They're really cool. Look at that. You've got a sort of broken book, a magic grimoire. And you've got whatever that is. Little dragon orb. Dragons round an orb. Key. Really cool little filler ones. And then, of course, you've got fantastic illustrations. Look, spoilers. But look at that. Just really cool illustrations. Who does the illustrations? They don't really say. Oh, cover illustrations by Ian McCarbre. Of course, of course. And then, who does the inside illustrations? They don't really say. Interior illustrations by Christian Balla. Have you heard of him, Jonathan? Do you like... Oh, there you go, Christian Balla's illustrations. Yeah, I do like them. Do you not like them? Do you not like them? Don't tell me they're AI art. Please don't do that. Well, the Incompend atmosphere fillers are among top 10 reasons I love game books. Yeah, I know. The filler ones are really cool as well. They really add to the atmosphere, don't they? They're really cool. I really like those illustrations. Because I think he's captured the essence of the old style illustrations, but they do look slightly modern as well. And I quite like that because they're not too modern for an old man like me. There's another one. I'm spoiling them. I don't normally show the illustrations, but you've probably looked through them. I don't know. But look at that. It's just full of fun as well. Yeah. So my inspiration originally was fighting fantasy. So again, I don't mind writing short entries. But I know that I've written some really long ones as well. I guess mixing it up. And my one of my big influences has been Talisman. So there's quite a few Easter eggs dotted around for Talisman. So if you have played Talisman, or you're a player of Talisman, you'll spot the Easter eggs there. Oh dear me, this cold. I've got a murder mystery tonight. Hopefully I can shift this cold before the murder mystery. So there we are. So that is basically what I've been working on. It's been a busy week. And I hope to... What's realistic? One more week. Then it's half term. So I'm thinking I'm going to finish the whole first draft in 2 weeks' time. I think I'll be able to do that. I think I will be able to do that. Which is very exciting. So if I can finish it a week before March, then that would leave... I can go through it myself before I put it out to play testing. Yeah. So Jonathan, when you play test it, when you give it to someone to play test, do you do this? Do you just send them... Is this how you write yours? So this is my actual written entries. And I basically... what I'm trying to say is, do you give them like the raw file, or do you actually typeset it like I typeset this one? How do you do it? This one's actually sort of typeset. How do you do it? Do you do it as like just a Word document? or and I've not really, you know, these aren't really mixed up, if you see what I mean. The numbers pretty much follow on. Like here it says, you ascend the top, struggling to push up the cover off the hole and climb out. Turn to, and then I've put XX52 because I don't know what the real number's going to be. But then 52 is just the next one down, if you see what I mean. Then it says turn to 49, so then you'd go back again. So some of it does jump about. But is this good enough? Because obviously, if I have to typeset it, like the book, then that's going to take me another week to typeset it. And then I'm just worried about the timing of everything. Oh, so I didn't hear your answer. Your daughter was talking to me. Lovely. Just as well I ramble on then, Jonathan, isn't it? And then ask the same question, but in a slightly different way. I send a Word document with copyright notice in the footer of every page, but I do have the sections muddled up. Oh, okay. Okay, so you do muddle the sections up. Often, part of the playtesting is checking that links work. Some are related to puzzles and other things. Yeah. So you physically copy and paste things around then, do you? You just manually do that. And then also with the digital, do you hyperlink everything? Is that how you do it with the digital one? So yeah, so you manually change it all up. Blimey, that must take ages. I might just type it. And then you hyperlink it, because I guess that's easier. Oh, you don't hyperlink it, but I get someone else to. Oh, okay. Yeah, so you send them a Word document that's jumbled up, and then, but they are hyperlinked. Okay, so I'll probably do that then. What I might also do then is put in the real numbers. I might put in the random numbers then, because yeah, like you say, part of the playtesting. So for example, yeah, I've got here 31A, 31B. 34, 35. So I might, yeah, okay. Okay. I'm going to have to jumble things up. It becomes easier, presumably, the more you do. The more game books you write. Because you get a system going, don't you? Imagine muddling up Dracula. Oh, God, you had 1,000 sections. Well, you've only got yourself to blame. Yeah, crikey. I hadn't really thought about that part of it, actually. You have to manually muddle it up. I mean, the thing is, you could pay someone else to do it, but again, that's going to take time. That's going to cost money, isn't it? So, yeah, so what I found online... Do you do this, Jonathan? I found online a number randomizer, and I put 1 to 400 in just to see what it did, you know, what it worked. And then it just had all the numbers, you know, like 9, 48, 16, you know, 382, 92, all down. And I thought what I would do is I would then, you know, where I've got 2, I would take the top random number of that list of numbers. And I think that would work. So say it was 9, then that would be 9. Then if it was 282, that's a long entry. 3 would be 282. Then if the next one was 57, then 4 would be 57. Yeah? I'm thinking that's how that works. Crazy. But then I'll have to have a key as well. Oh no, but then that's easy to do because you have all the numbers listed and then you just know it's 1 to however many and you have a key. Yeah, I think I've done it. Fantastic. Thank you for your help. You guys, you know, you never let me down. Never let me down. So there we are. So I probably do need to print off. Maybe when I get to 300, I need to print off this again because the last time I printed it off was 140. So I'm now another 100 entries in. Or maybe when I get to 250, I'll print it off. Yeah, Jonathan's but oh no, I have to muddle it myself. Oh, and my randomising isn't as random as you might think. I try to keep sections not too far apart, but not too close either. Oh, okay, this is interesting. I have to make others match up with illustrations. Oh yeah, of course, and you want them kind of spaced through. God, this is more complex than I thought it was going to be. Okay, and space them evenly throughout the book. And then there are ones that are the answers to puzzles, yeah, or unique character sections. That is true, because it sort of says, you know, if you've got the object with the 3 numbers on it, turn to those numbers, and you've not actually mentioned those written down. You know, it's a clue, isn't it? It's a puzzle that you work out, and you turn to that entry. Yeah, I'll have to worry about that when I get to it then. Yes, but thank you for that. Let me read that again. I have to muddle it myself, and my randomising isn't that random you might think. I try to keep sections not too far apart, but not too close to either. I have to make others match up with the illustrations. Yeah, that's important. I hadn't thought of that. And space them evenly out through the book. And then there are the ones that are the answers to puzzles or unique character sections. I think what I need to do is I need to, write the book. I need to work out which paragraphs then, which entries are going to have illustrations, and then make sure that they're spaced out, and then make sure those paragraphs are those specific numbers. Oh my God, this is more complicated. It sounds complicated, yeah. Martha's nearly finished outlining chapter 19. Now chapter 10. Well done, Martha. Well done. Hopefully we've inspired you. Well done, Martha, yes. Who'd have thought, says Jonathan, about how complicated it is to jumble everything up. So good, you said it twice, absolutely. In Shakespeare vs. Cthulhu, I'm toying with muddling up as Axe. Oh, that's nice. That's a nice touch. There are 5 altogether. Yeah, that's a nice thematic touch there. I like that. If you can do that, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, look at the time. You are right. We've been rambling for an hour. It can take days to renumber the adventure and then relay it out. Oops, I meant chapter 20. Oh, well, that's even better, Martha. It's another chapter done. Well done, Martha. Chapter 21. Fantastic. Yeah, even better. Yeah, so now I'm wondering whether I do just typeset it at this stage, because I'll get a better idea of where things land, what actual page number they're going to be. There's going to be a list of Dracula persona at the Dramatis personas, the cast list, at the start, and I'm thinking of renaming code words as stage directions. That is cool. That is really cool. I like that. Yeah. You'll receive stage directions. Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. How many characters do you think there'll be altogether, Martha? No, how many chapters do you think there'll be? Yeah, I like that. Yeah. You've really bought into the theme there with that. That's very clever. I really do go all in with my Ace Gamer projects. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why you've done so well with them, because people know you're a good writer, really good writer, and each one is slightly different, and you've tried to push the envelope a little bit more. And that's all credit to you. And I think that just shows your experience in writing game books. For me, just thinking, you know what, you can have a choice of characters, that just boggled my mind. I was like, how do I do that? So I'm keeping it very simple-ish. I've got, it's simple, my game book. But there's nothing to stop me kind of developing them as I go along. But yeah, no, I like that. Good bit of theme, good bit of immersive play. Cool. Anyway, I think, yeah, we ought to wrap it up, which is a shame. Nice little chat coming along here. Martha's put here, so far 20, but I've got a clear pattern for at least 3 chapters. Well, that's good, Martha. Keep going with it. Don't give up on it. My number one priority, about 5 or 6 years ago, as Sally will tell you, was to finish projects. That was always then my goal. Finish projects, even if I don't think they're any good, even if I'm stuck, even if I'm getting, annoyed with it. Finish the project. Because once you finish something, then you can go in and polish it. Then you can change it. Then you can shape it. You've got something to work with. So that is kind of my policy now, is I finish the project. So with this game book, I went through a phase about 2 weeks ago. I was a bit worried. I was thinking, is this writing good enough? Am I letting people down? I felt really bad. And I pushed through that. I pushed that thought to one side. I went, no, don't think like that. Finish it. Finish the first draft. Get it done. Then you can go back to those chapters, those entries that you feel aren't good enough, and you can look at them and you can change stuff. So that's kind of where I come from. That's an interesting phase. Push the envelope. Yes. Do you think it means stuff it as full as possible? Push the envelope. I guess it does. Or do you push the envelope into someone's hand? Have you not heard that before, Sally? Push the envelope. You must have heard that. Excellent, Martha. It's a great achievement. Yeah, it is a great achievement. Good night, everybody. After my aunt leaves, going to continue the Irish course. Nice. I picked up on special. If only to sound genuine with my Celtic characters. Cast fair... Oh, brilliant. Fair folk spells and make others oaths and toasts. Toasts, not toads. I have, but I've never stopped thinking about it. Yeah, it is a bit bizarre. We ought to look it up. That's the sort of thing that we like to do together. Right then, as you know. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, Lee-Rin. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Martha. Thank you to anyone else that watched, even if you didn't comment. Thank you for all of those that have followed. I really appreciate that. It kind of helps with the algorithms. But the main part is just the chat, the banter. Talking about fantasy, talking about game books, talking about, films, fancy films, anything that we like. We often ramble as well. It is, we now know why grandmas sucks egg. Yeah, but we look them up and then I always forget them, which, Kenny half fact. Anyway, I'm going to crack on with my Lovejoy. With my Lovejoy book tonight. I'm going to see the outcome of his court case, whether he gets sent down for GBH. I never thought Lovejoy would be like this. I'm traumatised. Right then, nice one, guys. Take care. And I will see you all. We are doing part 2 at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Back to Painting the Fence with Tom Sawyer. Yeah, nice one. 7 p.m. UK time, Wednesday. Changed it slightly. The Dungeon on Blood Island by Ian Livingstone. Part 2. So come and join the fun this Wednesday, 7 p.m. UK time. Goodbye, everybody. And remember, may your thieving never be caught. Got to do the plug. Always got to plug the book. Take care, everybody. Nice one, Martha. Bye-bye.